Well, today's the day we decided to show off my agate collection. These are the best ones, not all of them. I have a couple other jars that aren't nearly as impressive. So these live on my desk. They get rearranged on a pretty sporadic basis, like a little Zen garden. Here's the current arrangement. So this is what it looks like on my desk when I'm bored doing homework. We're gonna dump them out, and then we'll show you some more of them individually up close. Well, here they are all out of the jar. Might as well start with the first agate I ever found. This is the first one I ever found. It's not super impressive, but it's got some bands in there.
What beach was that? I don't remember the first beach we hunted.
I think that was the place with the ladder. It's kind of east of Grand Marais.
Okay.
Yeah, so I found this one and then a few other small ones and some little carnelians and stuff. It's almost like faded. It used to be a little darker green, I think, but yeah. Oh, I'm kind of happy that I remember that this one's the first one.
Yeah, that's cool.
We can do the biggest one next. This is probably the biggest, but I don't exactly count this one because it's got like, this isn't exactly agate in the middle here. It's just got like some weird eyes here, and then this stuff with, there's some bands in here, but I don't really know what kind of rock this is in the middle. It's not really chalcedony, so I don't exactly count that one. So, not counting that one, this one is what I'm going to call the biggest one. It's mostly quartz, but very neat.
I like that red line. It really shows up.
Yeah, and this kind of part is it's classified as a quartz floater because it's got the bands floating in quartz, and that's the husk with a little bit of limonite. I think this is the only one that I have that has limonite, so pretty neat. Here's a recent find. I like the shape of this one. I saw it just from this white part and picked it up, and it was quite nice actually.
Yeah, I remember that. It was just this summer.
Yeah. Here's one of my tube agates. This is the first one I ever found. You can see the little holes where the tubes go through. And there's the bottom. On this side you can kind of see where they make the bands look pretty neat there. It's a big nodule. This was my biggest until I found that other one. It's got some neat colors in it. Couple small ones with some nice bands. Real nice orange one with some quartzy in the middle.
Those little triangular parts are cool.
Yeah, a little bit of kind of host rock or something still on the outside. There's a pretty big seam agate with some nice bands. Probably the nicest one I've ever found. Kind of a weird one. I don't really know exactly if this is 100% an agate. It's almost like a sagonite, but I'm not totally convinced. It's got that crystal pocket in the side.
That's not amethyst in there, is it?
I don't think so. It could be smoky quartz crystals, but
this looks a little dark.
Yeah, it does. I remember finding this one at Vermilion. I think this is the first year we went rock hunting up in the UP. In the eastern UP is where these are all from. Some nice blue husk and stuff.
Yeah, I like that one a lot.
This one's not super impressive, but somewhere on here you can see that there's brecciated agate bands right there. And you can see that there's bands in here, and there's like a split, and the bands, like the rest of it's just slid over a bit. So that's neat. Kind of another red one. Pretty beach worn, so it's kind of hard to see the bands, but they're in there.
Really clear chalcedony in that one, though.
Yeah. This one would be neat with a flashlight. Pretty funky one. I don't really know what this would be classified as, but certainly some kind of agate. Big red nodule. There's a few bands in there, not a lot. We can get it to focus. It's kind of a white one. A little bit of pink in it. This one kind of looks like root beer.
Really crisp bands on that.
This is kind of like a paint agate, but with amethyst in the middle, we think. It's real faint and faded, but some of these paint agates really don't like oil. They kind of dry out after just a little while. I kind of gave up on re-oiling this one. Here's another kind of paint agate with a little bit of quartz in the middle there. Fun little one. Always happy to find these little ones with the good bands. Cat ears or something, maybe? That one's fun.
That was from this summer, wasn't it?
Yeah, I saw it in the water and I instantly knew it was an agate. Just that white and like a pretty sharp transition.
Right.
Here's a real funky one. Kind of, you see those quartz in there. It looks like it was formed in a pocket with a whole bunch of crystals, all those indentations. So it's kind of neat.
That's neat. Let's look at the bottom again. Yeah, you can see all those crystal impressions down there.
Yeah, little tiny ones, and then on the top there's some deep ones.
Yeah, that's very interesting.
Yeah. Bit of agate kind of floating in there. Some smoky quartz. A little bit of, just a tiny bit of the husk, it looks like, right there on the end. Another one with smoky quartz. Kind of fun. I think this is the first one of the second or third year, maybe?
Don't know. Haven't seen these since you found most of them.
Yeah, they all kind of come home. We see them at the end of the trip, and then they end up in my room in a jar, and Rob doesn't see them until now. This one's got some kind of tubes running through it on the sides and the husk. Kind of neat. This one's kind of a paint agate, not really translucent at all. When I picked it up, I thought it was jasper.
It definitely has bands.
From this year, I think this one was. They say it's the classic red and white, but I don't have too many red ones. A lot of oranges and browns. A few yellow.
It seems like there's more red and white ones on the western part of the lake, in Minnesota or Wisconsin.
All bands on this one.
Wow, that one's really good.
Same with this one. I remember this was a really crummy day, and this was a highlight.
Crummy day as in we weren't finding anything, or bad weather?
Oh, it was bad weather. We had probably 20, 25 mile an hour winds at least. I found this one the same day, or same beach, I think. I don't know if it was the same day. It might have been. It might have been the same day. This one's kind of got some shadowy banding going on in there. Just barely saw it sticking out of the sand. Some nice paint.
That's a beauty.
A little bit on the back.
Kind of looks like this one.
Yeah, similar color. This one's got some stuff floating in the quartz there. I think this one might be a skipping atom. Certainly, definitely looks a lot different than all the rest.
I've never figured out what a skipping atom agate is.
Another big one. This one's from the Blind Sucker, I think. Some kind of cool husk. I thought it was a nodule when I first picked it up because this looks like it's almost a bit of a peeling action, but it's kind of quite tell. A few bands in there. I remember I found this one on a really hot day in the dry rocks. I saw the back and I knew immediately. Some nice bands on the edges. Here's probably the most clear one. hard to see anything in it, but it's got these weird swoopy bands.
Yeah, it's very translucent and very clear and white. No color at all.
Yeah.
Yet you can see the bands.
Yeah. Almost thought it was quartz. So some nice, really nice bands in this one. Just a little guy. Another white one. This one's really convoluted. I could never really figure out what kind of nodule this used to be.
Yeah, stuff going every which way.
There's a little bit of the outside, and there's more outside, and the bands are just all over. Probably one of my favorite nodules with this window with bands. Kind of another root beer color.
This is the one I've been waiting for you to pick up.
One of my favorites.
Yeah, I remember you finding this one. I think I pouted for a while afterwards.
Usually sits on top of the jar. This is a more recent find from this year. This is probably the one out of 2 or 3 we only found on one beach. Kind of floating stuff in the middle.
Pretty good one, though.
Yeah. Remember, I think I didn't have a raincoat, and it was cold.
I remember that day.
Some nice bands on the edges of this one.
It's the other one I really like. It's been catching my eye.
Yeah, I think I only saw just this little white part, and I knew it was an agate, so just from that.
It's just so red compared to the rest of them. It's not.
Yeah.
It doesn't have the best bands, but the red is really cool.
Little orange and quartzy one. Here's one that's still kind of in host rock here. Some nice bands and then all the host rock. This is the only water level agate I've ever found.
I think I have a few.
Well, I might actually have a really tiny little piece of one, but this is the only one super substantial.
I don't know how many I have. I feel like I have several, though. It's funny that I would have more than you.
Yeah, I think I found that one at Vermilion. This one is, I think it's a pseudomorph, kind of. It's got some weird stuff going on. There's like a little banded portion. Those little, like, pointy things running through it make me think it's a pseudomorph. It's another one. I think this one was also from Vermilion, this blue one with the bands. Definitely not quite as sharp bands, but they're in there. They're a little, not as much contrast.
Like this little eye right on this corner.
Yeah.
It's little, but
nice. I like these little orange patches in the husk, kind of. Makes you wonder what kind of host rock it was in. Or what other minerals were in with it. And then the last one, kind of an orange and blue. I really like that combo.
Great colors in that. All right. You know what the problem with doing this video is? People are going to be asking me when I'm going to do my best agates, and it's going to be a much shorter video. But one of these days, maybe I'll pull mine out and do the same thing.
If you want to see some more of my non-agate finds that I've polished, you can click on one of these other videos.